Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Hello, middlers. It's me, it's Steph, the Medium in the Middle. I am 33. I had a great birthday weekend. Thank you, everybody, for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. I feel so loved. And for those invested in my birthday outfit delivery drama, I regret to inform the outfit did not arrive in time, and I had to go thrifting at like 4 p.m. on my birthday when I finally gave up hope that it wasn't going to arrive. But that's okay. I still had so much fun, and I will just have to find a new place to wear this outfit to. So if anyone has anywhere you would like to invite me to where I can wear a silver sequined jumpsuit with a deep V down the center, I could go to a disco party, I could go to maybe a birthday theme party, I could go to New Year's Eve, but I have this now in my closet for future use. So today is episode 146, and we are talking about starting at home. So I talk about this in my Reiki Level 1 course, and I had this conversation a few times in the past few weeks, and whenever that happens in my life, it's kind of like a red flag or green flag, I guess, of talk about this on the podcast. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is home, self, your own body, and why we start there, because it's really important when it comes to if you want to start a business, if you want to work on other people. I find a common thing with mentoring is people want to run to the finish line. And the finish line is, full paying customers, full business, replacing your 40-hour-a-week salary. Some might call this spiritual bypassing, but I just feel like it needs to be talked about a little bit more. So that's what we're talking about today. And I went to go pull a card for this week's episode, and I wanted to pull from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle deck. And I always shuffle the cards, and I say, what do the listeners need to know? What do the podcast listeners need for this week? And I pulled this card, and I thought, oh, I didn't shuffle properly. Like, that's not the card. So I put it back in, and I kept shuffling. And what happened? I pulled the card again. So this is the message that we needed to hear, despite me thinking that I pulled the wrong card. So the card I pulled was Warrior Woman. I don't know, that makes me want to be like, tan-tan-na-na. Have you answered your deepest calling? You're here for a reason. You're being called to bravely pave a path. Have you answered your highest and deepest calling? Living a heart and soul-fed life is not all fluffy and smooth sailing. Living a heart and soul-led life requires courage to triumph over fear. So often our fears are the gatekeepers to our greatest gifts. And the more resistance we have towards answering a call, the more important it is for our soul's growth. Sometimes fear is an indication that we are facing the right way. Ooh, I like that sentence. Sometimes fear is an indication that we are facing the right way. Joan of Arc was known for her courage and her famous line, "I'm not afraid. I was born to do this." But the thing about courage is that it is not possible without fear. So if you are feeling afraid, what is needed is courage. And courage comes from living from the heart. Think of your fears as opportunities to expand rather than things that are holding you hostage. If you look at your fears in this light, then, as uncomfortable as it might feel, it's actually a sign that you are on the right track. Aha, I like that. Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? As always, I will post the cards on my Instagram if you want to see the physical card, or if you have this deck, pull it out and shuffle for yourself. See what you get. So I have just a few Reiki announcements for you in regards to Reiki trainings. The next Reiki Level 1 that has availability is on November 12th and 13th. I think there's about 3 spots left in that course. And then I just released the next and last Reiki level 2 of the year. I can't even believe I'm saying that. And it's on December 3rd and 4th. So I will leave those down linked below in the show notes if you want to register for a course. It is crazy that October comes and I just feel like Q4 is just bam, bam, bam. All of a sudden it's Christmas, New Year's Eve, January. I mean, I guess that's good for my outfit that I have, but in like time-wise, I don't know why these months always seem to go so fast. So I want to talk today about starting at home because this is something that I preach in my Reiki courses, but it also applies to everything in our lives. And it's a good reminder that we need to have or have someone say to us. So here I am as the reminder that we will not become an expert on things until we figure it out on our own. And in the spirituality world, I know a lot of people's awakenings happen with a traumatic experience or perhaps an accident or something happened and then your spiritual gifts opened. And a lot of the times the reasons for this are the openings, or you will be helping people with that specific traumatic thing that you went through using what you learned to help others. And it's always interesting to see what your point of view is on things in regards to your experience, how you got to where you are, and how you're going to help others. But what I want to talk about today is why starting at home is so important. So I'm going to explain this in terms of Reiki because it's what I know best, but I do feel like you can apply this to many different things in spirituality and in your own development. So when I say Reiki level 1 is all about you, and we have to learn about you first. We have to learn about your energy, how you work with your energy, what are your signs and symbols, what do all these things mean for you. That's step number 1. And step number 1 can't be skipped. And I find a lot of people are very excited. So they're like, well, what about on other people? What does this mean on someone else? What does it mean when this happens with somebody else? How do you know this with somebody else? And it's like, pause, pump the brakes, figure this out on you. And I'm going to say something that I say to my Reiki students because I find, again, it will apply to many different areas. And something I'm constantly saying, like a parrot, is do the Reiki hand positions in order from head to toe until you are so sick of the hand positions in order from head to toe. Why? Because doing something in a certain order is going to teach you way more than I could ever tell you about your body. What do I mean by this? What does it feel like when you want to stay in a certain position? You have to figure that out. What does it mean when you're done in a certain hand position? You have to figure that out. What does it mean when you want to go back to a hand position? What does hot mean? What does cold mean? What does tingling toes mean? What does you burping mean? And the list goes on and on and on, but you have to figure that out at home. We can't go and use energy as an experiment on other people without doing the work first. It's like homework. You have to do your own homework before you can move on. There's no skipping that step. If you don't do the homework, when it comes time to the test, you're not going to know what to do. So for anything, you need to start at home and figure things out before going out. So what do I mean by this? I mean, you need to learn how your own energy works before you start practicing on other people. You need to learn how you handle your emotions before you go and tell other people. You need to master manifesting before you go and tell other people how to do it. You need to be really good at boundaries before you go tell other people to do it. You need to understand your own boundaries before you go work with other people. You need to understand how spirits communicates with you before you go do readings for other people. You need to understand what you need after a reading before you go work with other people. There's a lot of steps. And I'm here to encourage you today to take your time. There's no rush to the finish line. And like I said, the finish line seems to be I am doing readings full time. I'm leaving my job. It's replacing my $80,000 career and it's replacing all of my benefits. And this is going to be easier because it's my purpose and my calling. And while that may be true, it doesn't mean that you get to run to that step. And what I see is a lot of people running and then they trip and fall. And then they're mending the wound from tripping and falling. So it just takes you the same amount of time or longer to get where you're going because you didn't do your homework. You're going to have to retake that math class over and over and over again until you finally do the homework, learn how to do math, and pass the test. So I really wanted to talk about that today because I think we need a reminder to slow down and learn about yourself first. I can say a few examples of this. I was asked for mentoring for probably about a year before I started mentoring. So one of the things that I started to do was teach meetings in the middle because I was like, people are constantly asking me to mentor them, but I'm not ready yet, but I can teach on certain pockets of things that I feel really comfortable teaching about. So that's what I did. Once a month, I started teaching. It wasn't until at least 1 year later, now that I think about it, it could have been more, that I was like, I'm finally ready to help others on their journey. I had to figure out everything at home before I could go and run with others. So before I invited anyone into the space that I created, before I am supporting other people who are around me, before I'm bringing in other people's energy who I'm going to be influencing, you better believe that I was doing the work at home, making sure my space was clean, my closets were decluttered, my issues were dealt with, my emotions were regulated before I went out and invited anyone into this space. So be very mindful that if things take time, longer than you expected, if things aren't going as fast as you want them to, there's a reason for that. And probably the main reason is you have some work to do at home. You have some things you need to work on for yourself first. Will that make you money in the future? Maybe. Will it make things easier for you in the future? Absolutely. Are you still going to be learning lessons? Yes. Do you need to do this prep work before you go work with other people and hold space for other people? Absolutely yes. So what I ask you today is, where did you not do your homework? Skipped the homework, maybe didn't do the full homework because you want things to be a little quicker. You didn't want to go the long way. You wanted to run before you could walk. Maybe you're tripping. Maybe you've tripped. Maybe your knee is already scratched. It's okay. Go back home, do the homework, get your confidence up, and know when you're ready to go. And that also doesn't mean that you have to wait forever. I'm not saying stay at home forever, but I'm saying don't skip this very important step because it's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you more confident if you do this work now. I promise you, figure out how you work, and that is what's going to make you a powerful healer, a powerful medium, a powerful anything you're doing that's holding space for somebody else. Your house has to be clean before you invite other people in it. In the same way, you wouldn't want to go to someone else's dirty house. Think about your self-work as your house cleaning. You can't hide everything in your closet and think no one's going to find it. When someone comes over, they might just open that closet to put their coat in, and you're like, uh-oh, I didn't think you would find that. Especially in the spiritual realm, in the energy realm, people will find your closet full of your shit. You can't hide it because it's going to come up. It's going to come out tenfold. And then guess what? You have to stop everything and clean out that closet that you should have cleaned out years ago, that you should have done before you started, that you've been trying to hide for a long time. Now you're going to deal with it, and now you're going to have scrapes on your knees because you didn't do it the first time when you should have. So there's nothing that I can say that can really help with this besides don't avoid your lessons, try not to skip a step, and walk before you run. It's really, really important. In the Akashic Records, they kind of talk about this as like a ladder, and they talk about in the ladder. You can, run to the top of the ladder, but if you forgot something 3 steps down, guess what? You're going to be booted those 3 steps down. And then you're going to have to reclimb the ladder and you're going to be like, ugh, I already climbed this. Why am I going down? Well, you missed something you were supposed to see. You were supposed to learn. You were supposed to understand. So going fast is not always the answer. And please don't compare your race to anybody else's. Some people do run faster than some people. Some people are in their business, replacing their full-time income, taking clients, no problem all the time. Everybody is different. We are in an energy space. How clean everybody's house is different. We are in an energy space. Be mindful of what you have the capacity for. So I hope this episode is almost like a permission slip to slow down, and also a reminder to go clean your house, your own energy, your own things you have to pay attention to, figure out, practice, whatever you're doing. And also what is in that closet that you are avoiding, haven't dealt with. Maybe you don't want to learn that lesson, go through that, figure that out. Maybe you're trying to skip something. So I don't love the term spiritual bypassing, and I've said this before on the podcast. I don't think anyone ever purposely tries to spiritual bypass, which just means you're trying to skip a step. You're trying to move faster than you should be. You're trying to not learn that lesson. You're trying to not have that human experience. You're trying to not have to deal with that thing. But I feel like when people are going too fast, they start to miss very important development pieces that is going to make you a better person, healer, medium, psychic, whatever you're doing. Trust me, it's going to improve what you're doing if you let yourself go through those hard lessons. All of my hardest lessons are now the biggest things that I preach. Boundaries, energy, manifesting, knowing what you want, goals, Reiki, all of the things that I had to learn the hard way, the easy way, 3 times over are now all of the things that make me me. So whatever you're going through is what is your special sauce. So remember that. Remember, this is the homework. And if it was your kid, you would tell them to do the homework. And you would tell them to study for the test. And you would tell them, your piano teacher said you had to practice 30 minutes a day. And I'm paying that piano teacher. So you better be practicing 30 minutes a day. Here I am, Mama Steph, Mama Medium in the middle, telling you, you better be doing the work every day. You better be practicing 30 minutes a day. You better be doing your homework. Because even if you're not paying someone, it doesn't matter. You can't skip the steps on the ladder. I really wanted to bring that to the podcast today because I think it's an important reminder. And when we all start the race, we're all gung-ho. We're all ready to go. But we got to remember, it's a long race. We got to pace ourselves. You don't want to trip and fall. You want to make sure your shoes are tied. So let's go. So there's your reminder to start at home, do your homework, clean out your own closet, prepare to hold space, but for yourself first. Everything starts at home first. I hope that resonated with you. I hope if you needed to hear that today, I was the one to deliver it. I still need the reminder too, and when things come up and are repeating, I'm like, uh-oh, I have some homework to do. Uh-oh, I see what's happening here. I gotta go clean my house. Oh, that little thing I've been hiding in the closet forever is not going anywhere, so I better go deal with it. That homework never truly goes away because we're always growing and evolving. But the quicker you start to deal with it and get in the habit of studying 30 minutes per night, I hope you guys are following all these analogies. The quicker you get used to studying 30 minutes per night and it becomes a habit, then it's easier, we will say. I don't know if it ever gets easy. So that's all from me this week, folks. Thank you for listening. Thank you again for all the birthday wishes. You are all so amazing and wonderful. I have so much gratitude in my heart for this amazing community. As always, if you want to book an appointment with me for distance Reiki, Akashic Records, or PSYCH-K, I will leave all those links down below in the show notes. There's also a link if you want to see me in person in Banff for sessions. All of that was on my website. As a reminder, I only have one Instagram account, and I will never, ever, ever DM you for a reading. If you got a message from me, trust me, it was a scammer. It was not me. I had the saddest thing happen a week ago. Someone came in for an in-person session and they were like, hey, I want to talk to you about a message you sent to me on Instagram. And I was like, oh, it's not me. And she was like, no, it was you. And I was like, no, it wasn't me. And then she's like, no, it was. And I was like, it's a scammer. Did they offer you a reading? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, they are trying to scam you. So I'm sorry this happens, but please never send money in a DM. Also, never send money to like johndoe@gmail.com. You will never email me money. It's always on my website. And that is pretty true for every spiritual person, every business. We pay lots of money for websites that have really great buttons that say book now. So I never DM'd you. If you got a message from me that's a scam account, please block and report it. My only account is @medium in the middle. You can follow along there. I keep you updated all week long with funny things I'm doing, spiritual stuff, cheese reviews. It's a good time over there. And if you haven't already, I would love and appreciate a podcast review. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I will see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Go do your homework. Remember Mama Steph telling you. See you next Wednesday. Bye.